starts with one. Maybe it's one look, you know the one. Or one touch, even one word. It can start with one step, or one promise. Maybe it's one dream, or one journey. One smile, one gesture, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories that make up one crazy average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life, just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
Welcome to the U.S. Virgin Islands, where the American Caribbean meets opportunity. With direct access to the global marketplace, discover a business environment designed to help you succeed.
Good ideas can be realized here.
We have wraparound services. We offer tax incentives. We offer access to capital. Companies that relocate here can get customer care second to none here from the Economic Development Authority.
We located in the Virgin Islands because of easy access of shipping and freight and cargo.
I welcome you to come to the Virgin Islands. Do business with us, expand, start. We're happy to have you. And while you're here, enjoy our lovely sunsets.
To explore a new horizon for your business, please visit our website at www.usvieda.org.
Press the button.
Contact, eyes and that. Moving her waist like you got island that. I could tell how she dancing, she a island girl. This boy know he is a island man too. Wine and me don't wine and start. Grip on her waist without asking. Chat until we feeling exhausted. I just love the way she whine. Oh, she from behind. She goes up, I go so, I just holding her for the ride. I just love the way she whine. Oh, I got to whine. She go up, I go up.
Step in securing your business or home is erecting a fence so the non-invited can keep out and the invited can be guided in. Now, a solid, beautiful exterior structure not only enhances the appearance but also increases the value of your home or commercial property. Meet Bender and Associates. They are the experts in aluminum and stainless steel, including their manufacture and repair. Their work include gates, automatic and manual, stairs, security bars, wheelchair ramps. Hey, once you dream it and it involves steel, aluminum, or any metal structure, Bender and Associates can build or repair it. And for those who love the metals with beautiful designs, Bender and Associates can do that also. Time to get started by calling 340-244-0861. Oh yes, Bender and Associates service the entire Virgin Islands. Bender and Associates, beautifying your property.
Welcome to AllAhWeTv. Tonight is a very important conversation, and I'm happy that we're having it. Pleased to be joined by Dr. Jerry Smith, a terrific. Your exact title, I want to say, you're a physical therapist, was much more than that.
Well, good evening. Thank you for having me. Yes, so
I'm going to give you an introduction. I just want to get your title correct.
my professional title, yes, is I'm a physical therapist by training.
Dr. Jerry Smith, a good friend, well respected. When you talk about physical therapy in the Virgin Islands, you talk about himself. He's one of the best. But he's taken on a role as the chairman of the hospital boards. And in the introduction, we're going to say there's a few things that brings everyone into a normal playing field. And of course, we're separated, or we create separation by races, classes, sometimes income levels. But healthcare, we all must come back. We can't run from illness. We can't run from accidents. And being in our region, we have one hospital, one center emergency. And even if you have flyaway insurance or the medvac, as people call it, you still have to start here where you have to be normalized. And then you could choose where you want to go. But we have some great physicians here. So tonight we're talking about the state of our current hospitals, Roy Snyder Hospital, the Juan Louis Hospital, and of course we got the Myra
Keating Smith Community Clinic
in St. John. So we're talking about the current state and where we are going. And it came from a very interesting position in being that we've had hospital boards. We're going to explain a little bit about the history of that and to where we're kind of evolving into where we're going. So Dr. Smith, welcome. Thanks for being here. And we look forward to our conversation into where we are going with the hospitals here in our territory.
Well, thank you for having me. I look forward to having the conversation. It's a very important conversation to have. One, to understand where we're at, and then to look at the direction, the general direction we're going. We're about a week ahead of me being able to exactly say where we're going, because we have a strategic planning session coming up next week in St. Croix for the corporation. But generally speaking, where we're going, I'm happy to have that discussion.
So, as chairman of the hospital board, St. Thomas St. John, you're sharing both chairman roles, so the St. Thomas St. John board and the territorial board?
Yes. So the way the corporation, I know it's commonly just called the Territorial Board, but the official name of the organization is the Virgin Islands Government Hospitals and Healthcare Facilities Corporation.
That's a big title.
It is. That's part of what I hopefully we will come together as a community and look to change. Give us something that's
I don't want to interrupt you, but I tend to say the CEOs, they manage the hospital, and you manage, the board manage the CEOs and the direction of where the hospital is going. Can you explain to us the role of the board?
Well, the enabling legislation that created this entity, a semi-autonomous agency within the government, a body corporate, if you want to go to the legalese terms. Yes, the corporation runs the healthcare system, and then each facility is entrusted by it to the guidance of a CEO of that facility. So that's the role of the CEO. But the board charts the strategic direction of the organization in general. Okay.
So now you are the chairman of the board. When we have an official here, we had the ex-CEO of WAPA, we had the governor, we like to say, give us a grade of where the current state of the facilities are. If it's A through F, where are we and where are we going? Of course, we want to get to A, but if you had to give a grade, where are we?
I think we're about a C- right now.
We are a C-.
About a C-.
Okay.
We are a safe place to go to get health care, but we have a lot of improvement that we need to do to get to optimal care. And we can get into it a little bit later. A small group just went on a trip to Florida a few weeks ago to visit some excellent healthcare systems. Not necessarily to go visit hospitals, to go visit healthcare systems. That's an important point that
What's the difference?
Well, I would say right now, part of the reason why I would give us a C- is because we don't have a healthcare system. We have two hospitals that function very independently, that don't have a central vision. You can go right now, anybody, go right now and go to the Schneider Regional Medical Center's website. Go to the Governor Wang F. Louis Medical Center website and look to see what the mission, vision, and core values are. They're different. But everything you look at these organizations, they function separately. We are already a small territory. Why in heavens we would elect to be half the size of what we are by splitting ourselves into two, it baffles me. So us putting together a full-out healthcare system that not only incorporates the two hospitals that we have, but also layers on top of it the wraparound services that you need in order to support healthcare. That's part of the problem that we have. It bleeds out in so many ways. I'm happy to go into that it really hurts where we're at as a medical community, as a service provider, when we look at ourselves just merely as two hospitals versus looking at ourselves as a healthcare system. It's a stark difference.
So you're saying in the healthcare system you have goals, objectives, and you're marching towards a direction. Is that what I'm getting from you?
What I'm saying is what the board has done under the very capable leadership of our past chairman Christopher Finch. We really pushed. When I joined the board, it was in the midst of COVID, on the heels of Hurricane Irma and Maria, and it was about stabilization. It was constantly a tornado of things going on. I remember my very first meeting. It was a use. What was it called? I'm not remembering the exact name of the document we voted on, but the substance of it was what we would do in a scenario where we did not have supplies or the ability to treat individuals who we would leave untreated. I will put it that way. So that was the environment that I joined the board under. And for the last few years, it has been tireless work to just get out of that. And then to get the institutions to start to speak to each other on many, many things. Whether you're buying IV pumps, you're buying wheelchairs, you're buying hospital beds, you're buying medications, having them work together to have singular vendors so that we can have better pricing, we have better approach on maintenance, on skills, training for our staff, be able to have layers of coverage in case somebody is out and we have an issue. Somebody can go from the St. Croix facilities over to the St. Thomas facilities or the St. John facilities and not have different pieces of equipment. It has been a heavy lift just to get here. But no, I think we're here now where we have two institutions that now understand the importance of conversing. So I think we're poised now to go a step further. And this is where we're at. To push those things together. You ask if we're marching to the same beat? No, we're not. Whether we have the same mission? No, we don't. You go on the website, you'll see clearly that we don't. My goal is at the end of next week that we do. On September 6th and 7th, the board will convene with many stakeholders from their institutions to put that together, to put ourselves in the position of working towards that singular healthcare system so we could march to the same beat and push forward, maximizing our smallness and getting the best that we can from the size that we have, as well as looking at regional partnerships to get the benefit of larger organizations that can help us to even get there faster.
So you touched on a number of topics. You really addressed. You touch on what the general public hears and sees every day. You admitted shortage of supplies. You said that's what you entered and that's what the hospitals were operating under. They had staffing issues, and now you march into a system where you can order united, physicians, professionals can work in between the organizations. Are we still presently in that position? Because we're seeing in newspaper articles, we're seeing it in the media, complaints of a hospital don't have this, don't have that, and it's like a scary situation. Are we still presently there?
So I can give you a long answer, I'll give you a short one. I'll give you the short one first. Yes. The short answer is yes, we're still there. The longer answer is yes, we're there, but we're starting to dig ourselves out of it. You really have to understand the historical reasons as to why we're here.
Okay.
To then be able to unpack what to do next.
Okay.
Remember, historically, the hospitals were just simply part of the Department of Health. The Commissioner of Health was basically the CEO for all of acute healthcare as well as all community services, all the vaccine programs, all of even the Medicaid program was all part of the Department of Health. And as time has progressed, those things were taken out, and many of those things were taken out sometimes in the not the most coordinated fashion.
Okay.
So we're trying to work ourselves where we can get a simple. What is a good example of this? A good example of this is Medicaid. Economically, we know, unfortunately, the reality is that the territory has about a third of its population that lives at or below the poverty line. That means approximately a third of our population are Medicaid recipients.
Okay.
So then a third of the individuals that seek healthcare at the territory's hospitals
Can't pay the
are using Medicaid as their insurance provider.
Okay.
So the way the Medicaid program is set up is very, very important because now it dictates a third of the revenue of a third of the patients, not necessarily a third of the revenue, a third of the patients that seek care at the hospital. What comes into play in that is now the Medicaid state plan. The Medicaid state plan dictates the way Medicaid works and pays for the care that its recipients get. In the way that the hospital was set up, it was set up in the nature of where our physicians, extremely important part of any healthcare institution, physicians are paramount. If you don't have a physician, you don't have a hospital. I don't care how good the building is. I don't care what kind of supplies you have in there. I don't care what kind of money you have. If you don't have a doctor, you don't have a hospital. So nothing I'm going to say is disputing that fact. But the way we employ our physicians is somewhat problematic, and it's a historical fact. The vast majority of the physicians that work for the hospital under the arrangement of a semi-employed model, where they have a very modest salary. I know many individuals call that a stipend. I refuse to call it that. A stipend doesn't come with insurance and retirement. So they come with a very low salary. For that salary, the compensation for that salary is such that you would be able to bill professional services. Many individuals, anybody who's ever seek services at a hospital could tell you, if you go to the emergency room, you get two bills. You get a bill from the hospital, you get a bill from the doctor. So that's what that is. Doesn't matter what your insurance is. But in this case, in Medicaid, now the Medicaid state plan states that the physicians in the community and the physicians that work for the hospital can bill for the professional component of their care. The hospital cannot bill for the professional component of the care. The hospital can only bill for the services that it renders from the facility side. So anytime we have a physician that is a fully employed physician at the hospital is completely incapable or not allowed to be reimbursed for the services provided. That creates a huge gap.
By the physician.
Yeah, services provided by the physician.
Now you only billing for the facility.
For the facility. Okay. So for the large percentage of physicians that do have that semi-employed model, it's fine because they'll be remunerated for that, and the compensation that goes up from the hospital pays their salaries there. But in the instances where we have to bring in locums, I don't know if you've heard the term locum before. A locum tenens is basically a temporary worker. There are many specialties that the hospital is unable to recruit. And there's another long story as to why that is, with salaries being at low and negotiating salaries taking a very long time and physician salaries not moving. So that's an aside. But because we don't have those individuals working on staff and they're not part of the semi-employed model, they come in as a temporary worker. They don't bill for their professional services. The hospital bills for all their professional services. So for a third of the patients that we will see, that those temporary workers will see, we get zero compensation. So that creates a huge hole in the bucket of revenue that the hospital could realize. So that's one of the structural things that exists where it creates challenges for the hospital to generate revenue.
Okay.
I said a lot.
So,
Sorry.
yes, you said a lot, but that was under the Medicaid
program, yes.
Medicaid program.
Yeah.
And you said that's a third of our population that's in that situation. So a third of your clients. There's still a two-third.
Correct.
There's still a two-third. So let's say another one-third is...
I'll tell you, another one-third is Medicare. Those are our individuals that are over 62, our seniors, our gems of the community, the individuals that we so love to care for. All of our parents, our past teachers, our neighbors, the individuals that we love to take care of. But they are using a provider that pays us at a very, very low number because of the way our hospital is set up. Again, another structural issue. Our hospital is paid for under the TEFRA program. TEFRA is an old tax program that was created in, I think, in the 70s. When the hospital was set up, it is based. And the basis that is set up under dictates what the rates are. I don't remember the exact dates, but I think Schneider's basing is somewhere in the 80s. And I think because of Hurricane Hugo and the major changes that were done to the Governor F. Louis Hospital, their rebasing was done. So they're a little bit more recent. So when we get paid for things done for Medicare recipients, we get paid off of a 1980-something fee schedule or a 1990-something fee schedule. And then at the end of the year, we have to do a very, very complicated report called a cost report to then try to recoup some of the funds that we missed out on because we're charging for things that are 30 years more expensive than they were based on the price that we get paid for.
Okay. So we're saying, for those just tuning in, we're here with Dr. Jerry Smith, Chairman of the Board of St. Thomas St. John Hospitals and the USVI Hospital Boards. We're talking the state of hospitals here in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Great news, as you said, there's a big planning meeting coming up, you said next week?
Yeah, the 6th and 7th.
The 6th and 7th, and we're looking forward to a brighter future.
Yes.
A brighter, marching future. But to understand, we're discussing a little bit of the situation that got us where we are, and of course, where the hospitals is walking or moving towards too. So we discussed that originally it was, I remember those days when the health commissioner used to be health commissioner in charge of everything.
Everything, yes.
Correct? Now that has been separated, and I guess that's where, just understanding, that's where the boards came into play, or there were always boards?
No, that's where the boards came in. Boards didn't exist then either.
Okay, so now we have boards, and we had a St. Thomas and St. John board, and a St. Croix board, and then a Territorial board.
Yes, so
and that's still in place.
The structure of the organization is you have one kind of like a supreme governing board that's over the entire territory. So that's just a corporation board, and then because everything in the Virgin Islands is separated by districts, you have a St. Thomas St. John district board, and that board is tasked with oversight of all of the facilities, all of the assets within the corporation in the St. Thomas St. John district, and you have a St. Croix district in charge of all the assets, all of the service, all of the facilities within the St. Croix district.
So no, is that a most effective setup?
Historically, no. Now, well, the way it is utilized now, yes. I would like to personally, and many of the members of the board advocate for a type of a change.
Where there's one board?
Where there's one board. So
one board that manages both facilities.
Correct. So the
but
way
we're there yet.
Well, it's a matter of a legislative change. We could be there tomorrow, and we've asked for that actually. But because the boards have not had, well, until last December when there was a legislative change, the district boards did not have a quorum. Everything occurred at the territorial level. So it kind of forced us into that oneness. And because we had those district boards, let me step back. When the organization was created, the territorial board was, if you read the legislation, it says that the territorial board shall meet a minimum of 4 times per year. So they would do quarterly meetings. It would be a weekend event that they would get together. This was before any kind of Skype or any sort of telecommunication. So they would get together, have one meeting a day or a weekend. And then the day-to-day monthly meetings would occur on the district level. What this did, it provided very much a site-based oversight, but it created 2 hospitals that were distinctly different because you had the leadership for each district board leading its hospital in the way it wanted to. And then the other one did the same thing. The few times that they would come together was supposed to be for strategic alignment. I'm not so sure how much of that happened. That didn't happen during my time. When I joined, the St. Thomas St. John District Board only had 3 of its, I believe, 9 members. So we didn't have quorum. So everything, it was relegated into somewhat of a committee, a non-voting, non-binding committee in the district, and we just pass everything to the committee of jurisdiction for the overall board. So then, this is how Chairman Finch at the time was able to push for that oneness. When, for example, the GFL leadership would come with a procurement, they wanted to buy whatever, IV pumps. The question would be, all right, this looks proper. Is this the kind of IV pump being used in the St. Thomas St. John district? No. Well, did you consult with them to see if that's something that they want to do? Are they needing to replace them? Or vice versa? The folks from SRMC would come with a procurement. Did you speak to GFL about what they're using? Are they having success? Is it the same thing that they're using over there? Trying to get them to get together. And trust me, it was like pushing water uphill without a bucket. It was very, very difficult. There was seeds of distrust, a lack of collegial environment, and it was at times destructive. But I would tell you, I'm happy to report that those times are long gone.
Good.
And the hospitals work extremely well together. They are in high levels of communication, and I think that part of our challenge is behind of us. It's now looking to see how can we better integrate the system, not just for cost savings, but also now for efficiency. What are positions that would benefit from being a territorially approached position versus just a district? So what we're doing now, what the direction that the board is going towards, or the corporation is going towards, is having a centralized C-suite. We are hoping to move to potentially having centralized senior leadership, so then we can better guide the single direction, and then we can better maximize our economies of scale, what we do have.
You said that so professional and so beautiful that it almost went over my head, being honest. You said that we're looking forward to have a centralized senior leadership. So we're talking that, because earlier you talked about with this meeting that's coming up, that, unified systems, correct? Unified approach. So how far in the future are we talking about a centralized senior leadership?
It depends on the membership. There are many individuals who have spoken openly in meetings who have asked for this to happen sooner than later. However, we need to make sure that we map out the organization well and not just willy-nilly jump out. I don't think there's any disagreement among any of the members of the board or any of the members in the hospitals, even in the current senior leadership, that is the direction we need to go to. The question is in the details. How do we go about it? And that was a big part of why we went to visit these systems in Florida. We have Advent Health, one of the top 5 hospital systems in the country. Orlando Health, among the top hospital systems in the Southeast. Baptist Health, one of the largest and best run hospital systems in South Florida and in Central and South America, looking to see how they operate, what things are they centralized, what things are important to be specifically hospital-based, how are they running their system, what level of leadership should be local to the institution, and what should be more on a higher level, hovering over the organization, more of an umbrella structure, to then provide that leadership, the guidance, and direction.
And those places you spoke about, they have more than one institution under the umbrella?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, in the tens. Orlando Health has 6 hospitals in Puerto Rico alone. Advent has, 41 hospitals? These are large hospital systems.
So just so that we understand, do they have now a CEO of everything, and then each hospital would have, I don't want to use the term a general manager, or as, a DP, a deputy, or something to that kind of thing?
Excellent question. And they all do it a bit differently. In every instance, they have a centralized CEO, CFO, usually a chief legal officer, somebody on strategy, somebody on technology. That would be an overall centralized, providing that. And then they use different names. Some institutions, they have site-based CEOs. Some have, they use the moniker vice president. Some would be area manager. Because some have even more layers. You would imagine as wide as the span for Advent, they not only have the central C-suite, but then they have regional C-suites. And then they have sub-regional C-suites. Now, we're not at that kind of size, right? So us going there wasn't because we just want to add a bunch of bureaucracy. That is not the vision. That is not going to be the outcome. It's just, what is the best practice? Because we're not recreating the wheel. This stuff has been done. Hospital systems have been around for a long time. We're just late to the game. So we want to take the benefit of somebody else's time, attention, investment, and maximize and get to the goal faster.
So, and you said some on the board feel this should be done sooner than later. So, in our heads and us listening, are we waiting for just a decision for a change to be implemented, or do we have to wait for CEOs' contracts to expire?
I'll answer the second part first. No, we're not waiting for contracts to expire. That's not the reason at all. We're waiting for the most strategic opportunity to do it where the system can have the best outcome possible. Really. That's really comes down to. We have to be sure to provide quality care and stable institutions in order to provide care to the people that we serve. So we can't just willy-nilly go and quickly do it, although some may want to do it quickly, but we're not waiting for an arbitrary date for somebody's time to run out or nothing like that. I mean, these aren't games. We're making serious decisions for a very, very, very serious matter. There's been criticisms leveled. I think when I gave testimony in March to the Senate that this is the direction that we were hoping to go. We were much earlier in this discussion than we are now. We've come a long way. We know a heck of a lot more about what we're doing and what we need to do. We're on the cusp. But at the time I put forward, and the criticism was, well, you have two hospitals that aren't running very well right now. You're just going to sandwich two broken hospitals, I think, if I can quote the senator who I won't name. You're going to take two broken hospitals and push them together. You're going to have one big mess. And my response to them, I won't even give gender, my response to them was, it is my opinion and the opinions of many experts that part of the reason why we have what you call a broken hospital is because we haven't done this, because we continue to try to be separate. We continue to make ourselves smaller than we need to be. We continue to try to do things in our own way, when it's not to the benefit of who we're trying to serve. That's really the cost. We want to get down to provide the best service, the best level of care, to be the most efficient, to provide the care that we need to our patients. And this is the way that healthcare systems get it done.
Those institutions that you viewed and toured, were they government or private?
They were all private.
They were all private.
They were all private. You don't have very many government hospitals. You don't have very many government hospitals at all.
Do you see our government status holding up or mean a little challenge to this change? And you know, we're going to take a commercial break because a lot's happening. It's a good discussion. I love how you came out the gate with it, and you talked about this centralized system, this dream. So now, of course, you know, in the Virgin Islands, we hear beautiful dreams. It's like the bridge to nowhere. You know, that take how much years?
Yeah, I live in Nada. The bridge is somewhere now, okay?
It's a bridge is somewhere now, but it take almost 40 years, if not more.
Yeah, but because of it, Nada doesn't flood anymore.
Thank God. So we're hoping that the system, like you say, the timeline, you know, you mentioned you're not waiting on contracts. We're waiting on when we know is the best time and we could put it together, implement it to not end up in a far worse situation. Okay. We're going to take a break and we're going to come back. We want to talk about, which comes all into what you're discussing here, every week we have I don't want to use the term medivacs, but we have medical planes flying.
Yeah, every day.
Every day.
Every day.
We have, what do we do to restore hope? How we tell our community what's coming? We have, and then we're going to start speeding through some stuff. We have the kidney center that recently closed. We have the Cancer Institute that's being worked on right now. So you're going to just tell us an overview of what's happening and what can residents look forward to. And then what's happening on the St. Croix side. And then St. John is listening too. So it's a lot. It's a lot you have under you, right?
Yeah.
We're talking here, AllAhWeTv. We're talking about a matter that affects us all, healthcare. And we are talking about what's the future. The current state, but more important, what's the future and how it affects you and it affects me. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.
Party people in the place to be. It's about that time for us to.
Hey party people, House of Pastries is at it again and we're bringing all the vibes. Our first social was epic and we're doing it again, Speak Easy style, August 30th from 5:30 to 9:30, and we're serving up incredible buffet small bites and craft cocktails that hit different. Them drinks real good. Plus, we're celebrating our amazing owner's birthday, so you know it's gonna be extra special. DJ Supreme spinning the perfect mix to keep you moving all night long. Just $60 prepaid or at the door gets you into the hottest event in town. House of Pastries, August 30th at 5:30 p.m. Great food, delicious cocktails, and amazing friends with Speak Easy vibes. You got to be there.
We stepping up. Starting with the essentials. The Levi Fisher bundle isn't just about looking good. It's about feeling good. Hydrating and grooming that bed perfectly. Next, let's not forget the skin. With Naked Luxury's Fairline Men, we taking premium care that leaves your skin irresistible. Why? Because self-care ain't just a luxury, it's a necessity. So before you head out, remember looking good is more than just clothes. It's about bringing out your natural charm. You think your woman and want to see you rough all the time? Don't forget, look good all the time. Take care of yourself.
Hi, I'm Donna Fred Gregory, Executive Director of the DFG Community Impact Foundation. The National Hurricane Center and VITEMA advise that this storm season officially starts on June 1st and runs through November 30th, and there is a 60% chance of above normal hurricane activity. It is important that we are all prepared, informed, and ready in the event the Virgin Islands is affected, as small storms can result in damage to our homes and businesses. The DFG Community Impact Foundation created an easy-to-follow 6-step preparedness kit detailing must-have essentials and action steps in the event of a storm emergency. Visit the DFG Community Impact Foundation Facebook page to download your copy. Save it in your mobile phone or tablet. Share with family members in our community groups or WhatsApp and social media pages. Not on social media? Not a problem. An audio version of this easy-to-follow instruction preparedness kit will run on USVI radio stations from June through November. This preparedness kit includes a list of essential emergency supplies, a list of important documents you'll need to keep dry and safe, suggestions of personal hygiene items, medicines, first aid supplies, clothing, and comfort items to help children get through the storm. Tips to prepare the interior and exterior of your home or businesses, and instructions on what to do in case there is a need to evacuate your home. Preparing early is the first step to ensuring the safety of you and your loved ones. Get prepared now. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and be safe this hurricane season. This message is brought to you by the DFG Community Impact Foundation of the Virgin Islands.
Attention all commercial motor vehicle operation and owners. Speeding is one of the top infractions for commercial motor vehicles. Driving above the posted speed limit not only incur unsafe driving violation, but also puts lives at risk. Speeding is a leading cause of crashes, injuries, and fatalities in our roads. Remember, large trucks, buses takes much longer to stop. According to Title 20 Virgin Islands Code 495C, the rate of speed for CMVs, trucks, and buses within the town area shall not exceed 10 miles an hour. Follow speed limits. Always adhere to posted speed limits and adjust your speed for traffic and weather conditions. Maintain control. Driving at safe speeds help you stay in control, especially in unexpected situations. Safety first. Your safety and the safety of others on the road should always come first. Slow down and drive responsibly because safe speeds save lives. This message is brought to you by the Motor Carrier Safety Assistance Unit, the Office of Highway Safety, and the Virgin Islands Police Department.
I am used
All right, we are here live on AllAhWeTv, and we are discussing the status of our healthcare system, soon to be healthcare system. We are discussing the status of our hospitals with Dr. Jerry Smith, and Dr. Jerry Smith is the chairman of the VI. He's chairman of the St. Thomas Hospital Board and also chairman of the Territorial Board. I cut it off when an important ad was playing. So I want to play that ad. And then we're coming right back because we're having a great conversation. Our conversation included the status of our systems right now, how we got there, and where we're going. It got real juicy, and he said we're going to a unified system, and not only a unified system, but a unified senior leadership. So you have to listen to what Dr. Smith said right there. That was very important, and he said many systems do that across the nation. So it's something that we can implement here. We're going to talk about the flyaway programs, the Medivacs. I'm not calling that correct, but I don't want to call the companies' names, the air ambulances. We're going to talk about more, each of the hospitals, and also what's the future taking place. But first, it's an important message. So if you're viewing, this message right here is one that should have not been disturbed.
I am Eustace Grant Jr., also known as the Don Deal. I was diagnosed with stage 2 prostate cancer on August 31st, 2017. That moment changed my life. The hardest part of the experience was the thought of not being here to see my children and grandchild grow. Luckily, my family and support team were real. They had food sales to show their support. My prayer warriors and doctors were phenomenal. Do I encourage men to get screened for prostate cancer? The answer is an absolute yes. If you are an African-American male with a family history of prostate cancer, you should begin screening at age 40. If you are unsure about screening, talk to your doctor to decide if screening is right for you. Testing is easy. Early detection saves lives. I am a living testament, and that's a done deal. African-American men are at an increased risk of getting and dying from prostate cancer more than any other race. Talk to your doctor to find out if prostate cancer screening is right for you. This message was brought to you by the Department of Health, Division of Chronic Disease and Prevention.
All right, we are back, and that commercial is very important. Prostate cancer. Here with Dr. Jerry Smith, and he's the, as we said, chairman of the hospital boards. And prostate cancer, you're talking to the males out there, what do you say? And getting yourself checked.
Get checked early. Unfortunately, my grandfather on my father's side died from prostate cancer, so it's a very important subject matter, very close to me. So get your routine checks, make sure you know your status, and then once you're able to find something, get treated. Take it seriously.
You know, while we're talking about prostate cancer, and during the break you said there was a matter that you wanted to touch on that you didn't get to hit home on. But we're talking about prostate cancer, and I was able to assist someone who traveled from St. Croix for the Cancer Institute here in St. Thomas. And since that time, we know this institution has been closed. We see it under repair. What's the status? Just talk straight to us what we're looking forward to.
Well, up to yesterday, because I drove by and it didn't seem like it was moving as fast as I've been told. So I called back to be reassured that the timeline that we've been given is accurate, and it is slated to reopen in November. Well, to finish construction in November and to resume services soon thereafter.
So we're looking into next year.
Most likely, because after you get the facility open, then you have a whole bunch of regulatory things that you have to get past. But the construction will be finished. All of the equipment, all of the supplies for it will be there. Then we have to go through a certification process from the regulatory bodies to be given permission to operate.
Now, in that, in the Cancer Institute, was any of the equipment saved, or everything had to be thrown out?
Everything had to go.
Everything had to go.
The entire building was gutted. It will be all brand new state-of-the-art equipment that's there.
So they couldn't save nothing?
Well, we saved most of all of the structure, but no, with the intrusion of water into it, no, everything had to go.
Okay.
Yeah, with major compromise of the roof system.
Yeah. So, you wanted to close on a point before we move forward?
Well, no, I think I touched on before the challenges of having our locum physicians and payment for some of those things. But what I didn't touch on is the fact that because of the way most of our physician contracts are done, not contracts, the way physician employment's done, where we've been unable to, or we have not in the past deemed it necessary to have outpatient clinics. So because we don't have outpatient clinics, we don't have the wraparound services. So many of the times, all of the time, when, I guess many, because we do have one clinic, the GI gastrointestinal clinic. But for the vast majority of patients that we see in our emergency rooms, from there, they're just sent to private offices for follow-up care. They're out of the system. They're out of the care loop of the hospital. And we lose that connectivity, loss of the feel and the services of a system. And it's lost revenue for the entity as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we talked about the healthcare system. We talked about the dream of where it's going. And you said, many said sooner than later. This is all wrapped in. And you talked about our current state. We had shortage. We talk all of that. But that is our current state, and you say we're coming out of that.
Yeah, and we had the challenges as well. You know, while we're done, we got a heavy blow. Last year, on 2 occasions, we had cyber attacks at the Schneider Regional Medical Center that really affected our operations. We had to shut down completely. In modern healthcare facilities, your electronic medical record is everything. That's how patients are checked in. That's how documentation is done. That's how billing is done, follow-up. Everything is done in the system. We have to go completely offline back on paper. That threw us back months and months on revenue and made it very difficult to provide the service that we do provide. And then early this year, the Governor F. Wang F. Louis Hospital had the same thing. And we are in a position where JFL is on the cusp of coming out of it. There is expectation that within 3 weeks or so, we're expecting to have the system come back online. It's been a Herculean effort. The team over there...
It's been offline all this time.
It's been varying degree of offline. It was completely offline at first, and then slowly some departments will come in with minimal things. So we have challenges with cash flow at Wang Louis, and it's no secret. It's a challenge because we can't do the billing. There are months of bills that are sitting there that we can only bill sections of it depending on the payer and how they can accept payments. We can't bill for it.
Because the electronic system was
Because of electronic system.
So what have you done to make sure that don't happen again?
Well,
I don't want to say you.
Oh, no, that's fine. I know I'm not representing Jerry Smith when I'm here. I'm representing the system. So you could say you, because I am we, I guess, for good and bad. Trust me, I know when I go anywhere, I get the questions and the comments. I know this. No, it's the recovery response. We just approved a contract with a cybersecurity company that will provide our regular backups and checks. So they are in the process of getting SRMC up and ready to come out of the bubble because they're limping around, being halfway up, halfway down because of the security threat that hadn't been fully handled. Wang Louis, we had we learned some lessons from what happened at SRMC. So our approach from Wang Louis' standpoint with its cyber attack was, to me and to many experts, far better in a response than the response that occurred with SRMC. So Wang Louis will actually come back online faster than SRMC will. and will have all of the parameters in place day one from its from cybersecurity standpoint. So when it comes up, the day that it opens up won't be like the way SRMC came up in a modified way. It will come up fully operational and with all of its backups and securities in place.
When they're coming up?
I don't know that date is a date that I can give right now.
Okay.
It's in a few weeks.
It's in the works.
It's I'll say the date. September 15th is the date that is what we put out there. And once we don't have any major challenges between now and then, that is when it's slated to come online.
Okay. So, we're going to talk about the future hospitals, the construction, that. Right now, for our residents, having faith in our hospitals, I don't want to say the system, having faith in our hospitals, because as we said, every day people are being flown out.
Yes.
CEO went to the legislature, and we know it. They say the gunshot victims,
yes,
without lack of insurance, of course, they drain in the hospital. So, what are we doing to tell, and what are we doing? Like we said, we discussed it, but just in short order here talking, how are we giving faith to our residents that we could take care of you and we don't have to fly you out, or we do have to fly you out?
Well, I wouldn't even try to give residents that we won't have to fly you out, because there are many instances where we would. I'm not in the business of lying to people at all. There are many, many things that a small rural hospital of our size just don't have. Levels of specialties that we just don't have. We are fully able to provide all basic care. Okay. But there are many, many, many lines of service that are one-off. You might see one patient a year in a population as small as us, that we will never be able to afford to have the provider that would take care of that one thing.
Okay.
But we have many excellent providers that can cover all of the bases, and we have many specialists that can do many high-level activities. But we have a lot of spots, and you'd find that in any rural hospital. And for that, we have to have strategic partners on the mainland that would provide that specialty care. And for those individuals, it's a matter of having arrangements in advance with air ambulance services. It is having strategic partnerships with large institutions in the States. Kind of one of the reasons why we went on this trip, to try to create strategic partnerships so that transfer can happen quicker.
So for residents, it's in your best interest, because we're in a rural community, not even to do with the hospitals or the system, it is in your best interest to have those relationships for yourself as well, especially if you have a precondition.
I would say yes. We as an institution can provide the services that we need for basic care. And for many of the things that are above basic care, we can also. But there are always going to be instances where it exceeds our capacity.
Is it presently that we're just setting out the acute scenarios, or we setting out some of the normal as well right now?
And I wouldn't say the word acute, because everything we see in our emergency room is acute. Acute just means it's a fresh injury. But we are sending out vast majority of our higher level, more complicated cases. Those are the cases that we're sending out.
And that range in what? Gunshot victims? That range in what?
Multiple orthopedic trauma, somebody with multiple fractures, complex fractures, burn victims, complex strokes, head injuries. There are a plethora of things that are highly complicated that we would seek to stabilize individuals and then get them to an institution that specializes in that level of care.
Okay.
But in many, many, many instances, far more instances, we are able to stabilize a person and treat them for the entire level of care. So I don't want this conversation to be framed in a way that a large percentage of our patients are sent out. When I made a comment early, every day we admit many, many, many patients and we take care of them.
Yes.
So it, as a percentage, it's a very small percentage of our patients that are sent out by Medivacs. But it is a thing that happens.
Yeah.
While we were While we were visiting Advent Health, for example, one of the facilities, one of the areas that they took us was in their what do they call it? Their command center. This room had about 30 TV screens on the wall. There was a symbol that represented every single hospital bed, every single emergency room bed, every single ambulance, every single helicopter that would move. And they had direct communication electronically and by voice with the heads of each of the emergency rooms in each of the hospitals, and how they move patients from one facility to the next, because the hospital that they have in this county didn't have this specialty, so they move it to another one. So patients moving because of specialty care is not something that's unique. It's just we don't have a neighboring hospital right next door that has a specialty. There's another level 1 trauma center next door to us that we can send that person to. So that place is in Miami.
Yeah.
That's the, that's part of living on a small island. That's just the reality.
But we got to take the time, as you said, every day you're treating hundreds of people. And I had friends that, of course, my love of my life, we were in St. Croix. My good friend, my ride or die, my best friend went to St. Thomas Hospital. I had a wonderful experience. This is about 2 weeks ago. And when they were scared, and she said, I met everyone. There's no doubt that our personnel staff is amazing. Took great care of her. There was one incident, though, where there was an EKG machine, and the newer one, it wouldn't work. But things happen. So they banging on it. Then they had to go for old Betsy. Betsy come and Betsy work. But in matters of her going in with a scare and being assisted in a speedy fashion, all questions answered, taking care of her, compliments to the SRMC emergency team. We were at the 1F Louis last week when I was in St. Croix. Again, overnight, excellent care.
Yeah.
Excellent care.
We don't do a good job of promoting our wins every day. We have, the staff do excellent things. We have such fantastic clinicians that work within our institutions, the physicians, the nurses, the allied health professionals. Excellent work they do every day. It only takes one instance where something doesn't quite go as planned, and that is promoted. And we don't want that to happen, but we definitely want it to be said that that's the norm, and that's the circumstance that happens all the time.
Yeah.
We have far more excellent things that happen every single day in our institutions that we, quite frankly, just need to do a better job of promoting.
And we do know that we had in the past, we've had instances, and I'm hoping that it's less now, where when it's your emergency, it's time. Time is, there's nothing to say on time because it's your emergency.
Of course.
I've been on a few scenes, and one time, not in your control, but I'm going to use it for the story. It was a gunshot victim, and we were on the scene, and we called the ambulance, and I timed it, and the ambulance came in a record time. But for being on that scene, the time wasn't, it seemed like forever.
Of course.
Okay? So we got to the hospital, emergency room, and it seems like I've just shared two beautiful experiences. But what are we doing about the wait? There is a wait factor, and it always...
Excellent question. So, and I can't disclose the entity. We have not gotten to the level where we have our memorandum of understanding signed yet. We had a follow-up meeting with one of the institutions that we visited. They have, in their outcome measures, excellent emergency room wait times. We visited them, and their staff communicated several of the initiatives that they have in place that reduces wait times.
So, when you say memorandum of understanding, does that mean they're going to come in and assist us? They're going to manage our emergency room? What are we saying?
I don't know what it means. Honestly, I don't know what it means. We aren't. There's no discussion currently where we would... There is no stated goal at this time where we're seeking out entities to come in and manage the facilities. what we're looking for are strategic partners, people who have demonstrated the ability to do best practices at the highest levels. Wanted to learn from the things that they have learned, utilize investments that they have put in to almost like a cheat code. We want to get there faster. We don't want to sit there and learn all these lessons on our own. We want to utilize their experience, bring them in, help to train the staff, adapt policies, look at mechanisms that we can improve on to improve on the services. And one of those services is what you just mentioned,
So,
wait times.
on the senior management side and the board side, you all recognize there's a problem.
Of course. We receive, as the chairman, fortunately or unfortunately, I sit on every single committee of the hospital, every committee, gosh. And one of those committees is the Performance Improvement Committee. And we receive testimonies from the chief nursing officers on the quality metrics that are measured at the hospital it's reported quarterly, but they're tracked every month. And one of those metrics is wait time from door to disposition. From the time you enter the door to when you leave, how long did it take to be seen? How long did it take to be treated? How long did it take to be discharged? So those metrics, and we look at those and we measure them against best practices. And there's a lot of improvement to be had there. A lot of those challenges, however, come into throughput. Throughput is the term that's used to describe the passage of somebody through the organization.
Okay.
So one of those sections of throughput is the emergency room from the time a person is seen, when they're seen by the physician, and either when they're discharged to leave or when they're admitted. Getting somebody into the emergency room, everybody is seen within minutes, and they're triaged. They're seen by a nurse, and the level of acuity, the level of severity is seen right away. And then you're placed basically in a queue. And if your severity is low, your queue can continue to change as time goes. If more acute people keep showing up ahead of you, you might be, and they'll have to come back and visit you over and over and over again. But that's just how hospitals work.
Yeah.
One of the limiting factors is simply having a bed in the emergency room. But if we have a scenario where we have 6, 8, 13 boarders at the hospital, living in a hospital room upstairs as if it's a hotel room.
Define boarders.
A boarder is an individual who is no longer acutely in the hospital to be treated as a patient. They are no longer they no longer have any medical necessity. They have been treated, they have been ready to be discharged, but there's no safe place to discharge them to. And against federal law, we can't just put people on the street. So they end up, families, other loved ones, simply don't come to pick them up. So they're there. There have been people that lived years in the hospital. Years, I'll tell you years. I think the record is 7 years that somebody lived in the hospital. Nobody would come pick them up. So that hospital bed on the floor is now taken up by a person who does not need it at all. And that means that the person who is in the emergency room, who needs to leave there to be admitted, can't be taken out of that bed. So then the person who's sitting in the chair outside of the emergency room can't be put in that bed. And that's the backlog that we have. Though that's a scenario that's our reality. We don't have skilled nursing facilities at the level that we need in the Virgin Islands. We don't have places. While we were not
skilled nursing facilities,
what Seaview was on St. Thomas, what Herbert Gregg is on St. Croix.
Okay.
So those facilities where people go, the normal pathway of healthcare is from the hospital to skilled nursing facility, a step down in your level of care that you need, to then home, a regular nursing home, or to your natural home. Because we have a shortage of those types of facilities, people end up staying in the hospital longer, even in a case where these folks have resources, they have family, but their acuity is not where it needs to be in the hospital, but it's more than they could really be cared for at home. They need to be going to a nursing home or a skilled nursing facility, but we don't have those beds, so they end up staying in the hospital longer. And that's in the good scenario. And in the bad scenarios, where they're discharged and their family or their loved ones, or sometimes they don't have family, they don't have loved ones. And then the state, the government, the central government, Department of Human Services, they become the entity that would be tasked with providing that service. Well, if they don't have the resources, they don't have the beds, they can't do it. So where does they end up? They end up staying in the hospital. And it ends up with being longer wait times in the emergency room.
How many beds you know that you have in the emergency room, St. Thomas or St. Croix?
You know, this number really, it always escapes me. Please don't ask me that number. I don't remember. It's in the low teens.
Okay. We're gonna talk hospital construction, but before then, let's delve in. And you're on the board. You're on the board, so we have to respect that the board doesn't micromanage the hospitals.
Correct.
And that's not the job of any board.
Correct.
That's the CEO or the person that you have in that position. However,
I'm glad you said that because most people don't understand that. they think, oh, you're the chairman of the board. Come fix this thing at the hospital. I can't.
However, if we could go back and forth on this all night.
Okay.
If you are not having communication with your superior position, your superior people, then they try to cry to the board, right? Because then you have to police that person.
Correct.
It's like you can't get to the chief, you go to the commissioner.
Yes. No, and that is the right thing. If individuals in you're speaking about staff now.
We're talking staff.
So if members of our staff are having challenges with senior leadership and they're not getting the response, then I expect there to be a reach around to then say, we've been pushing this up the ladder and we haven't gotten a response. Can you look at this? Because then we will then go and go down and
have
take
you
a
had
look.
that communication? Have people
Yes.
in our you have?
Yes, I'll yes.
You have.
I'm very direct in that answer. I have.
Okay.
You won't see me going and walk around the hospital. I don't have any operational authority at all in the hospital. The law is very, very, very clear that members of the board have zero operational authority.
But you can go in an overview
And
like
go and look. Yes.
You can look at
I go and look. It usually happens if I'm having a meeting, I go a little early, I walk around. If I'm visiting somebody, I go and I say hello. Or I use a surrogate. I have a person going to visit somebody and they'll tell me what they're observing. This room has an AC who has filters that aren't clean. There's this issue, there's that issue.
So ultimately I was coming to staff and morale, but you just brought up AC. We've had, I know for years, Snyder Regional. I remember the running joke was that there was no hot water. That was back in the 90s. You remember there was no hot water in the hospital? Yeah. That's still a problem, or you have hot water?
It has hot water.
You have hot water.
Yeah.
That was a joke.
Air conditioning is a problem, though.
But air conditioning.
It is a major problem.
Equipment, and we know we've been affected, and we affected from the storms. And we're in a process where we're going to talk about construction and the new development of the hospitals. We're going to pick up the pace. However, for the current state and the facilities and its management, maintenance, lack of AC, as you talked about right there, coming back to supplies and such, where we at, and how are we improving that?
It's a big challenge. I laid out by saying that, because you have 30-year-old facilities with 30-year-old facility problems. We have major mechanical things that are starting to give major problems.
Okay.
And we are at the cusp of taking down buildings and rebuilding hospitals. So the question comes, how much of a massive investment do you do in a building that's going to be in some ways taken down? But how do you live and manage in these things day to day? Because you have to provide care in them.
Yeah.
So it's a slew of temporary solutions that we take. There, in the case of SRMC, anybody who goes in there, you'll see that the big, massive central system of the central air conditioning units that are there aren't utilized as much as they used to. You have more individual units in the rooms, the temporary units there, because the massive cost that it would take to do the major repair to the system that's there is really not worth it. So you come up with a temporary solution to try to make the patients as comfortable as possible, to make it conducive for care. And the speed of the recovery is part of the problem as well. So how long is it going to take to get these buildings built? That seems to be a moving target. So that's the challenge that exists. That's the management challenge that exists. A facility with very, very, very little maintenance budget that exists, a 30-year facility that is slated to be torn down. How do you manage that? How do you maintain that? How do you expend resources, especially in a scenario where your resources just for operations, for critical supplies, is limited. For staff, it's limited. So that's the challenge that exists. That's the reality of where we're at.
Yeah. Now, employees' morale and retention. Of course, that should be the task of the CEOs.
Correct.
But
with support from the board.
What is the current position of it? What is the current position of the morale of the team members? And of course, in management of the hospital, is that becoming an issue that the board has to pay attention to?
So morale is a thing that changes depending on the overall circumstances of the facility. One of the issues that we had, the largest group of employees at the hospital, at any hospital, is going to be a nursing complement.
Okay.
Prior to this time last year, our nurses were paid at a level far, far inferior to their stateside counterparts.
So that's why we were losing them?
We were losing them. We had nurses that would leave us today and come back tomorrow as a traveler. And then we were paying the travel company 4 or 5 times the cost of, maybe that's a little reach, a large amount, more than we would pay in staff, we would pay in travel fees. And that sounds ridiculous, right?
So you just up the pay of your locals?
Yes. Okay. We were able to get and renegotiate the salaries for the local nurses. They're at a much better rate now. They seem to be happy. Morale, you would have to ask them about that. I think the biggest thing that we have that challenges morale, with 2 things, would be our electronic medical record. In the case of SRMC, in this bubble that we're in, where some computers can access the internet, some computers can access the software system, and it just makes it difficult to work. You're going back and forth on many computers in computer labs, and it's really not the best scenario at all. And in the case of Wang Louis, where some things are still paper, and some things just aren't as efficient as they should. So, and that's the reality of responding or recovering from the cyber attack. That's going to create a challenge there. And then our facilities would create, just a physical plant would create other challenges. When you're walking and there's a leak somewhere, Wang Louis has been surviving in a temporary facility for years. And that's a challenge that's there. We're now having to double back and do repairs to our temporary structure. Because the temporary structure is...
I was reading Senator Fonseca. Earlier he was asking the governor to declare a state of emergency on the hospitals. We're going to come to that. But he was saying that the temporary unit may be coming to the end of its lifespan. Was that correct?
It was correct. Yeah, the length of time, I don't quote me on the exact time, but I remember that we are getting close down to the time of that temporary facility. We're going to have to do substantial repairs to that temporary facility to stretch its lifespan, because we are still, you'd have to perhaps have an interview with Director Actalin Williams from the disaster recovery on exactly where they are. I can touch on that quickly. All of our major projects have been turned over to that agency for completion. We internally, the corporation...
Is that a good move or a bad move? I won't be a media person if I didn't ask that.
It's a move that the territory decided it was the best thing that we could do to get our projects done.
Okay.
So before that, the corporation stood up the Territorial Hospital Redevelopment Team, led by Executive Director Darryl Smalls. He is an excellent individual that is very driven, that's extremely hardworking. He's built a very, very good team of engineers and project managers, legal and accounting folks. And they've been marching along with all the projects that we had already started. So we did some initial upgrades to Mara Keating Smith. We've kind of stabilized that a bit. Still, it has more work to do. By no means do I think that Myra Keaton Smith is optimal. It's not optimal. We really have to continue to improve that. Our St. Jonians deserve a heck of a lot better than they're receiving now.
And they're in trailers also?
They're in trailers now, yes. Okay. Yeah, and it's not even a trailer that was designed for a hospital. That trailer was just designed for like office. That was provided to us by the Army Corps of Engineers. That's not a FEMA project. And the Army Corps of Engineers and FEMA operate very different for disaster recovery. So that's the challenge that exists there. At least the JFL North was designed specifically to be a hospital. So it functions a heck of a lot better than Myra Keating Smith Community Clinic is. Part of the challenge with the Myra Keating Smith is its distinction. It's not a hospital. It's not an urgent care. It's a clinic. Well, Medicare, FEMA, they don't recognize clinics. They don't. That's not a thing.
So we're
very unique in what we're at. We're trying to get a carve out to have a specific designation for the Virgin Islands because it doesn't fit in any box that anybody has. It operates like an emergency room, like a detached emergency department. It operates like an urgent care center. So there's some.
So what's ideal for it to operate as?
That's going to be discussed next week.
Okay.
That's all part of the strategic planning to see what is the best use case for St. John. How do we provide the best case for our individuals or residents of St. John? Because they really, really deserve a better model. We have to rethink how we look at healthcare in St. John. Okay. I think St. John provides an excellent opportunity for us to look at how we provide that care there and potentially what additional facilities we could do on St. Thomas and St. Croix to mirror what the facility in St. John is for our eastern end of the island, detached facilities that are outside of the hospital to decrease things like wait times in the ER, to increase access to care, to have more outpatient services done at those types of facilities, similar to what's being done in St. John today.
The question is time.
Time.
When this is going to happen? So you say that's what's going to be discussed in the strategic planning?
Well, no, the timing it's outside of us. And timing has a lot to do with FEMA. Okay. Has a lot to do with FEMA. Unfortunately, we don't have the money sitting in a bank account to jump out and just do these projects. So we have to go through the very arduous task of checking all the boxes that FEMA has put in front of us to check. And once checked, then funds are released, and we move the next step, and then funds are released, and we go and we go and we go. That's the reason why the projects are taking the length of time that
but
they're taking.
But it's been 7 years.
Yeah, no.
7 years.
Yeah, no.
7 years.
And then we're looking at five to seven, I don't know exact timeline, but between five to 7 years from when we start at JFL to where we'll have JFL completed. But we got to start. And to start, we have to knock down the old one. And to be able to knock down the old one, we have to get out of the old one.
So for me to completely understand, because we're in the construction phase right now, we're wrapping up the interview. Construction phase. JFL is in a trailer, but some are still in the old building?
Yes, sir.
So is it just the emergency room is in the trailer?
No.
The
full hospital is in the modular hospital, sir.
Okay. The full hospital?
The full hospital, yes.
But you're still using some of the old buildings?
Yes. We're using some of the old building for pharmacy. We're using some of the old building for some of our radiological services. We're using the building for a lot of our administrative staff. We're building Cassava Gardens. That's nearing completion. Then we'll be able to move all of our staff out of there. We're doing the 5-acre project. You'll see it's just to the east of the main property, the main JFL main, as we call it, which is the old hospital. And once we're done with all the materials management and maintenance, we'll go over there, plus parking structure and other things will go over there. And that would put us in a better position. Some of the things are marred in potential litigation from how the construction was done and things that are not currently in JFL main but have to be. And it was not built in such a way that we could put it in JFL main. There's one part of pharmacy that's a very, very specialized room that it was not built in such a way that we are able to legally put it into JFL North. So it has to stay in the whole hospital until we can build a structure suitable to put it there.
So, again, back to time.
I know.
What we talking about, and then now, like what you said, it is in the hospital reconstruction group a construction group. Now everything is under disaster recovery.
That's under disaster recovery. The hospitals were recently put out a bid. I think they're in the committee stage now, where they're looking at those bids, so they can award a contract
for the construction.
For the construction.
So we're still in bidding phase.
No. Well, we're in the procurement phase. The bids have been received.
Yeah.
Yes,
the procurement phase.
Yeah, and I'm told we've received some bidders. Because of the procurement process, I'm not authorized to go any further than that. Not even that I'm not willing to tell you, I'm not even authorized to know it.
So we're looking at another 5 years in the trailers, temporary hospital. That's what you call it, temporary hospital?
JFL North, yes.
So we're looking about another 5 years?
Yes.
Okay. So you just have to...
From when we start the construction.
Well,
so perhaps more than that. I'm just being honest with you. Perhaps more than that.
Because they're out to bid now.
Correct.
So...
Then you have to award, you have to mobilize, and we have to get out.
You have to get out.
Because we get out, then you have the demolition phase. Mm-hmm. I'm not good at mincing words. I'm not good at giving flowery stories. That's the truth. The last thing I ask you
about St. Croix is, it seems like that facility, it don't have no parking. You come to the emergency room at night, there's about 4 or 5 spots that's for handicap.
Yes.
And then everybody got to park over by acute or the parking alongside the road.
Alongside the road or down in the JFL main parking
Might
lot.
as well you ask Island Center for permission to park up over there?
No. Well, in the short term, perhaps. But we have people movers. There are carts that are there that will take individuals from the parking lot
overnight?
over. Well, we do it in the large times when people are traversing. Yeah. So when the 5-acre portion is done, then we'll have massive parking. That's on the cusp of being completed.
Okay. Now Snyder Regional, how we looking on the construction of Snyder Regional? Where we at? What's taking place?
We're behind of Wang Louis.
Oh Jesus.
We haven't even We're much further behind with Schneider than we are Wang Louis. Wang Louis is slated to be done before. The cancer center is...
The cancer center coming along.
The cancer center is slated to be completed in November. That's really the strongest project that we have closest to completion. The 5-acre development there, Cassava Gardens for the staff moving over, the dialysis center on St. Croix.
So we're stuck in our current situation for a while.
Yes.
We're talking maybe another, like we say, 5 to 8 years.
5 to 8 years. I think that's a fair estimate.
And you're just trying to bandage the wound. I mean, it's business. You need money. You're waiting on FEMA money. And it's in disaster recovery. So it's out in the procurement process. So it's out to bid.
Yeah.
It's out to bid.
So the bright spot that I can offer now is many of the reforms, many of the changes to the system that we are looking to do are actually outside of the construction projects. And we're likely to be able to move those other projects, our outpatient centers that we're wanting to do, are likely to be completed before the hospitals are completed. So we'll have increased services to the public far before the hospitals are
that's
completed.
Increased revenue.
Yes, it is increased revenue, but it's increased services. That's more important. We are here to provide services. The hospital really isn't designed to make money. Of course, you need to generate revenue in order to function, but really it's driven by service.
Okay, but then we still come back to the uninsured problem. We're still having the problem of the gunshot victims who can't pay for it. So it's still in that situation. And is there any kind of plan to see what do we do about, like you say, it's here to provide service, not make money, but how do you not tighten up, let's not use that word. How do we increase revenue? That's a better word?
Certainly. Yes. So it is a government facility, and for individuals who are unable to pay, there's a large sum of funds that we receive monthly from central government. And those funds are intended to help cover the cost of those individuals who are either uninsured or underinsured. Okay. And that goes a great ways. I think there's some work that we can do to get to a number that more represents what that is. But we can also do a lot better on our own. There are a lot of things that we're doing. We revenue cycle management. We signed a contract in June, I think it was, for a revenue cycle management entity to come in. They've already started. They've come in. They've started to work with our staff. And
that's a collection agency when you use that term.
It's far more than a collection.
Revenue.
It's far more than a collection agency. A revenue cycle management. It is
how you manage your money.
Not how you manage your money. It's how you manage the cycle of revenue. So manage how we collect the data from our patients, how we look at our documentation, how do we look at our charges, how we look at dropping our bills, how we submit our bills to the insurance companies, how we follow up with those bills and we collect on them, and how we manage the entire process of revenue coming into the organization and maximizing the way we do it. There are a lot of shortcomings in our operation, and we see what they were. We don't have the expertise on island. We don't have the level of staffing that's needed. Medical billing is very, very complicated. So we decided to go out and get experts in the field to come and assist us so we could maximize on the resources that we have in front of us now. We can't be good stewards of the people's money by just continuing to do a suboptimal job in processing the claims for the patients that we can generate revenue from, or the services that we generate revenue from now. We can't go about doing suboptimal there and then go to the government and say we need more money.
But that sounds to me like a CFO.
Yeah, correct.
A larger CFO.
So the system CFO.
Yeah, but you have a CFO.
We don't have a CFO.
You don't have a CFO?
None of the facilities have a CFO. They should. They don't. We have senior members in finance. No. With that position we just met last week. And in that meeting last week, the final decision was made on the compensation package for the system CFO. That is going to be the first system position that we're going to start with. So that person, we expect to have that person in position before the end of this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a lot of gaps. There's a lot of gaps. There's a lot of gaps. There are ways. There are a lot of things that we could do better at.
And as both facilities don't have a CFO, so they have CEOs. How the hierarchy works? The CEO.
I chuckle because the first thing on the agenda in the strategic planning session is our organizational structure, because both hospitals have two different organizational structures. They both have CEOs. Then the Governor Warnock Louis facility has they had a CFO position is unfilled, and they have a vice president of finance. They have chief of every department. So chief of nursing, chief medical officer. You have the chief of legal. You have the chief information officer. Whereas at Schneider, you have vice president structure. You have the CEO, and then you have vice president of finance. You have vice president of
so you're
of human resources, vice president of legal. You have it's just a different
strategic
structure.
meeting is going to make a unified
structure, unified system, unified approach, looking at what positions would benefit from not being in any of the hospitals, but benefit from being territorial wide.
So this is like our pre-conversation. So about fall, we should be talking again, and you'll be telling us a new structure and a new system for the organization.
Yes.
A viewer just texted us as before we go to commercial break and say it's out for the CFO compensation of $200K.
Well, I don't know where that comes from, because that information has not been put forward yet. Well, I don't know what that person's source is. perhaps that I should get some information from them.
All right, we are talking the states of our hospitals, soon to be healthcare system.
Exactly, sir.
Soon to be healthcare system here of the Virgin Islands. It's been a great conversation. When we come back, Dr. Smith will do his wrap of what the Virgin Islanders can expect. We've had a lot of faith in our system, and our system has been good to us. Our system, I mean our hospitals. They've taken care of us all this time, and it's in a process of evolving and growing to serve us better. So, Dr. Smith, chairman of St. Thomas St. John Hospital Board. So soon we're going to be having one title.
Well, that's a matter of the decision to the legislature to discuss.
So we're going to come back. We're going to make a wrap. It's been a great conversation. We talked about where we were, how we got there, what the future looks like. We touched on a number of topics that's plaguing our hospital system. We talk about the facilities, not the best news. We were hearing the dream had sounded like we were going to be there closer than what it appears. We're going to touch on that back, and then we're going to wrap it up right here. Thank you for watching right here with us here on AllAhWeTv. And listen, this weekend a big party is coming up. You want to find out where it is? Listen to this ad.
Party people in the place to be. It's about that time for us to.
Hey party people, House of Pastries is at it again, and we're bringing all the vibes. Our first social was epic, and we're doing it again, speakeasy style, August 30th from 5:30 to 9:30, and we're serving up incredible buffet small bites and craft cocktails that hit different. Them drinks real good. Plus, we're celebrating our amazing owner's birthday, so you know it's going to be extra special. DJ Supreme spinning the perfect mix to keep you moving all night long. Just $60 prepaid or at the door gets you into the hottest event in town. House of Pastries, August 30th at 5:30 p.m. Great food, delicious cocktails, and amazing friends with speakeasy vibes. You got to be there.
With one. Maybe it's one look. You know the one. Or one touch. Even one word. It can start with one step. Or one promise. Maybe it's one dream. Or one journey. One smile. One gesture. One deep breath. One leap of faith. One day to remember. Or one night to forget. One moment. So many stories that make up one crazy average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life. Just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
Welcome to the U.S. Virgin Islands, where the American Caribbean meets opportunity. With direct access to the global marketplace, discover a business environment designed to help you succeed.
Good ideas can be realized here.
We have wraparound services. We offer tax incentives. We offer access to capital. Companies that relocate here can get customer care second to none here from the Economic Development Authority.
We located in the Virgin Islands because of easy access of shipping and freight and cargo.
I welcome you to come to the Virgin Islands. Do business with us, expand, start. We're happy to have you. And while you're here, enjoy our lovely sunsets.
To explore a new horizon for your business, please visit our website at www.usvieda.org.
Hi, I'm Donna Fred Gregory, Executive Director of the DFG Community Impact Foundation. The National Hurricane Center and VITEMA advise that this storm season officially starts on June 1st and runs through November 30th, and there is a 60% chance of above normal hurricane activity. It is important that we are all prepared, informed, and ready in the event the Virgin Islands is affected, as small storms can result in damage to our homes and businesses. The DFG Community Impact Foundation created an easy-to-follow 6-step preparedness kit detailing must-have essentials and action steps in the event of a storm emergency. Visit the DFG Community Impact Foundation Facebook page to download your copy. Save it in your mobile phone or tablet. Share with family members in our community groups or WhatsApp and social media pages. Not on social media? Not a problem. An audio version of this easy-to-follow instruction preparedness kit will run on USVI radio stations from June through November. This preparedness kit includes a list of essential emergency supplies, a list of important documents you'll need to keep dry and safe, suggestions of personal hygiene items, medicines, first aid supplies, clothing, and comfort items to help children get through the storm. Tips to prepare the interior and exterior of your home or businesses, and instructions on what to do in case there is a need to evacuate your home. Preparing early is the first step to ensuring the safety of you and your loved ones. Get prepared now. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and be safe this hurricane season. This message is brought to you by the DFG Community Impact Foundation of the Virgin Islands.
All right, it is hurricane season, so we tell everyone, just as you saw, Executive Director, DFG, Donna Fred Gregory said, be prepared, have a plan, and of course, most importantly, stay informed. We're entering September, and that is the scary months here in hurricane season. In no matter what part of you, no matter where you are in these islands. We've been having a great conversation with Dr. Jerry Smith. We've been here talking about the state of our hospitals, what the future holds, and I'm going to ask him, what does his future hold? Why did you want to become a part of the board? What is your return, your reward for being on the board? And how much longer you're giving this? Because this seems like a job. It seems like a job. You hear answering and you have to speak for not one, not two, but 3 facilities. You have to be knowledgeable of everything. It's like you're the super CEO. You know, like how we like to call the senators the super commissioners, right? So the chairman and the board members are the super CEOs, right?
I hope not. I hope not.
But we did say already the board does not overstep the CEOs. However, so what made you want to be a part of the board? How much longer you're giving this, and what's your return out of this?
Well, this is gonna sound, I guess, a bit corny, but if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. I returned home from physical therapy school in December of 2005. My first job was at the hospital. I was the lowest paid person in my entire class of 54 physical therapists. I started working there where we would see 4 or 5 patients a day in our patient center, and I saw it grow. I know what the potential is of the hospital. I saw a lot of the shortcomings while there. I found that I bumped my head against a wall and couldn't make any substantial change. So I went on and I did my own thing. I learned a lot. Recently got a master's degree in healthcare administration, and I truly just wanted to be a part of the solution. So when the opportunity came to serve on the board, I said I'll take the challenge. I want to do my part to make it better. I don't really have. I don't have. What I have in this is not financial. My stake in this is making the healthcare system better for me. So I'm selfish. I don't want only to make it better for you, because if I get sick tonight, I happen to be on St. Thomas today, they're going to take me to Schneider. If I'm on St. Croix tomorrow, they're going to take me to Wang Louis. If I'm St. John, they're going to take me to Marquette. I'm selfish. I have an aunt that lives in St. John. I have an aunt that lives here. I have very close friends and cousins that live in St. Croix. I want the system to be better for me, for them, for all of us. That's why I'm doing this. Trust me, it ain't for the money. My $75 a meeting, oftentimes 3, 4, 5-hour meetings, is nothing compared to the effort put forward in this. It's not financially driven at all. I lose far more than I gain. And my hair used to be black before I started this. I truly want to do good work. I want to get the healthcare system better. I want to have it a system that we can be proud of, one that could provide us a lot of what we need. It's not realistic to think that it can do everything for all of us, but it could do mostly everything for most of us. And that's what I want to create. That's what I want to help build. And that's why I do this.
That was a good delivery. Good delivery. As you wrap up right here, we discussed a number of topics. What do you say to Virgin Islanders or Virgin Islanders abroad, or anyone that's watching this here right now? Your wrap up. What do you say about the hospitals of the Virgin Islands, soon to be healthcare system?
Man, I'm so optimistic about this. When I gave my honest answers, I think my voice was a bit solemn because I want to be honest. I want to be truthful about where we're at. Some of the things aren't great, but we have such great opportunity. I see this thing in two parts. One, we have the recovery, and we have facilities that we have to build, and there's a process. We have to go through the process. Many of us can do nothing about the process. The process is a process. So that's that. And then there's services. There's so many things that we can do outside of that we can push forward faster. There's all sorts of funds available to create other facilities, to use technology, to make strategic partnerships with other entities in massive healthcare systems around the nation, that we can impact services here locally, leveraging technology, leveraging relationships that we can do far better than we are doing now in a very short period of time. So there's so many things that we can do. It first starts with us getting our internal act together, tidying up our house, reducing our inefficiencies, making ourselves more cohesive, really narrowing down our mission, our vision, getting our core values in check, and then having those things embodied in our institutions and using that to drive the change that we want to do, implement the services that we need, and then the end result is to provide the care that is demanded of us from our community. We do those things, everybody wins. And that's why I get up and I do this every day, because I think I could make a change. And every member on the board, every member of the hospital, all of our staff, all the members of our community coming together, we can get this thing done.
That was a massive delivery. I love it. I love it. As you were saying it, when you say every member of the board, and I would have to say you probably have to give credit to the boards of the past, and of course the leaders of the past that brought it to this point.
That's right.
Of course, they were probably good and bad, but you brought us to this point. They could have fallen off long time ago.
Yes.
And for your passionate, you said, I'm greedy. You say you're greedy.
I want a better system for me. I want care to be better for me when I need it. And by making it better for me, I make it better for all of us.
I love it. I love it.
I should say, all are we.
Hey! Now we going someplace. Listen, it's been a fabulous discussion. And these conversations, I want to thank you for the time. Because the hospital is an important topic. It's an important topic. As we started in the opening, no matter your race, no matter your class, no matter your age, you could be next to somebody who's a baby, an infant, a toddler, and it could be grandma or grandpa on the other side.
Yeah.
Health brings us all equal. Sickness brings us all equal.
You could have a private jet on the runway, and if you're really sick, you can't get on it.
You can't get on it. You have to get stabilized here first.
Correct.
For you to get there. And even when you get there, and we have some excellent persons here. We have some excellent providers.
Excellent.
So we have to say thank you to them. And of course, the system and the structure has to support them so that they can continue doing great service. So thank you. Thank you for the time. Thank you for coming and explaining to us. Because what is important is for us to understand what is taking place. So we could prioritize. We can't do everything, but what is it that we have to work on? And like you said, how it was, how did we get there, and where we're moving to.
Yes, sir.
So really thank you for the time, and we're going to be looking forward to staying in communication with you. And I want to thank you for staying in that jacket, because it had pretty warm. You see my jacket at the back, and Dr. Smith do that there with great character, and he moved a bungee yet. I said you could take out the jacket, he kept it on.
No.
And thank you to you. And we know you do this, and you have, as you said, your private practices, St. Thomas and Tortola, still Virgin Gorda?
And Virgin Gorda, yes.
And Virgin Gorda. And while managing your private businesses is, like we said, you're managing the hospital for the people of the Virgin Islands. So thank you. And thank you to all the board, and thank you to you for watching. We ask you to share it, reshare it, come back and listen to it. And we invite Dr. Smith Other members of the board, the CEOs, here to share with us and let us know what's coming up, what's being enhanced for the people of the Virgin Islands. Since we're stuck in the modulars, do any way that you are to make it more comfortable. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Listen, tomorrow morning we're going to be coming live from House of Pastries. As you saw in the commercial, House of Pastries has a massive birthday party coming up on Saturday. You've got to be there. A lot of things taking place throughout the Virgin Islands, but most important, what's taking place are day-to-day living. And you have to, as Dr. Smith said, we have to be part of the solution and not just talking the problem. Until next time, well, tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m., AllAhWeTv. Tomorrow we're going to be rising up together.
Party people in the place to be. It's about that time for us to.
Hey party people, House of Pastries is at it again and we're bringing all the vibes. Our first social was epic and we're doing it again, Speak Easy style, August 30th from 5:30 to 9:30, and we're serving up incredible buffet small bites and craft cocktails that hit different. Them drinks real good. Plus, we're celebrating our amazing owner's birthday, so you know it's going to be extra special. DJ Supreme spinning the perfect mix to keep you moving all night long. Just $60 prepaid or at the door gets you into the hottest event in town. House of Pastries, August 30th at 5:30 p.m. Great food, delicious cocktails, and amazing friends with Speak Easy vibes. You got to be there.